Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are, whenever you are. So today, I think I'm going to talk about the time one of the owners of a company I worked for a few years ago, let's see here, I think I worked for them 3 years ago for about 3 years, so I think this maybe happened like 4-ish years ago. Anyway, this person that was part owner of the company came up to me one time and was like, I can't find anyone in the company that has a bad thing to say about you. And that's not normal. And I was like, yeah, that's not normal. And in my head, I was like, oh my God, that's awful. Because I can't remember. I meant to look it up before I even started this because I knew I wanted to mention this song and I totally forgot. Oh well. Maybe when I'm watching it back, I'll look it up and put it in like text on the screen. Anyway, that song, You Can't Please Everyone, So You Got to Please Yourself. I listened to that a lot as a kid and it made an impression on me. And I've also read and heard other things, about people pleasing and how it's actually manipulation and how you're like, I don't know, you're not being authentic and all this stuff. Anyway, so my blood ran cold when this guy was like, no one has a bad thing to say about you. Everyone really likes you. I think he meant it as a compliment. He seemed to be saying it as a compliment. That was his demeanor. Although, why was he looking for people who had bad things to say about me? That I'm still curious about that. But anyway, I've been kind of on a journey ever since to figure out what it is I really want out of each moment, each interaction, and then embodying that, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it can hurt people's feelings. Because if I'm not being true to myself, then I'm hurting my feelings. That's not okay. Other people are responsible for their own feelings. I'm responsible for mine. And so I think around the same time, and I could be wrong because my concept of time, aside from like minutes and hours, which I've gotten pretty good at keeping track of. If you can see behind me that shampoo bowl, I was a working hairstylist for 12 years, and that really ingrained in me like minutes and hours and how to gauge how many are passing. But outside of that, everything that happened yesterday and before is the past, and everything obviously that happened in the future is the future. I live in today, and any long spans of time outside of that, who knows? So anyway, maybe around the same time as this comment was made to me, I decided I wanted to start journaling again. I had been a really strong journaler as a teenager, and then my journals were read and it was really traumatic, and I didn't journal again for a long time. And then I got back into it, and then I got back out of it. And then I think I just really buried my feelings for a long time. There's a 7-year span in my journals where I didn't write like basically at all, maybe like once a year. I have a journal that spans 7 years, where now my journals span about a month. So that was a really dry period. And when I decided to come out of it, I realized that I was having a hard time writing. So when I was still shopping on Amazon, I'm now boycotting them, but when I was still shopping on Amazon, just randomly this guided journal by Keith Kinney popped into my feed, and it was called But First Inner Peace, and it had a smiley face on it, I think. And it just grabbed my attention, and I got it. And I managed to get all the way through it, and it was making me feel a little more comfortable journal writing, but not entirely. So he had another one, so I got that one too. I can't remember what that one's called at the moment. Also by Keith Kinney. And then I also started listening to his podcast, which he has hundreds of episodes of. I started at the beginning. I don't think I quite got to the end. Maybe I did. I don't remember. I haven't listened to him in a while now, but for probably 6 months to a year, I had his positive short little podcast episodes in my ear at work, and I considered him like my personal cheerleader. And I was using him as a combat to my inner critic, which I was just always just like under the thumb of. I felt like my inner critic was just like always just tearing me apart. But Keith Kinney has all these beautiful little like 10 to 20 minute long episodes where he just talks about all the positive aspects of you. And if you're in a dark place, I really recommend listening to him. If you can't get that inner critic to shut up, then sometimes getting an external voice is super helpful, I found. And it worked. Like, I gained confidence. I joined an Artist Way group online with a woman I met through Instagram. I'm also not on Instagram anymore. Well, I have an account, but as long as what's his name, Zuckerberg, is in charge of it, I probably won't be posting there anymore. But anyway, beside the point. So I joined this Artist Way group, and I'd done the Artist Way once before, years before, with a boyfriend and a hair client. And it was really great, but I'd obviously fallen out of the practice because in the Artist Way, you're supposed to do morning pages, journaling, every single day. And so this joining the Artist Way got me back into it like hardcore, and got me drawing again and sketching and finding beauty in the things around me again. And it changed my whole life. I decided to quit drinking. I also quit vaping around that time. I quit vaping a year before I quit drinking. I think maybe the drinking was on the second time through the Artist Way. I did it twice with the same cohort leader. And yeah, it really changed my life. And then after I quit drinking, I started to notice that I was still really people pleasing, like everyone around me. I wasn't happy in any of my friendships or relationships, my marriage. I tried setting boundaries. Those boundaries were pushed back on, and no one around me wanted me to quit drinking or wanted to cut back themselves, or, So I ended up quitting my marriage and my two longest friendships, I think, over the past year and a half or so. And I believe that all of this change stemmed from that one comment. And this might sound really scary, and I'm not gonna lie, it was like there were some long cries. There have been some screaming into a pillow sessions. I'm not trying to make this sound as easy as it's sounding. Looking back on it, it was not easy at all. It was hard. It was scary. It was it felt unmooring, like my anchor had broken free during a storm and I was just adrift in the wide open ocean all alone. But the thing is, it didn't kill me. And since I've noticed that I've lived through this, and I mean, pretty unscathed, it's given me so much confidence. And aside from the scary moments and aside from the really hard moments, like especially financially, I lost my train of thought. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I'm the happiest I've ever been. Like, in my entire life, I'm the happiest I've ever been. I spend a majority of my time when I'm not working alone right now. And it's fine. It's fine. I've always been afraid of it before. I thought I couldn't handle being alone all the time. I was like a serial monogamist, codependent habits, all that. But no, I love spending time alone and journaling and making art, talking to my dog, singing to myself. I am studying shamanism, which is super interesting, and I love my my drum that I got for shamanism, and I love that I can play it without disturbing anyone. And yeah, I love that I can eat what I want when I want without discussing and making a plan with anyone. I love that I can just spend my time doing whatever I want when I want without discussing with anyone. Like, there was a period of time in my most working like 50 hours a week, 56 hours a week, for weeks at a time. And all I wanted to do on my weekends was like draw and paint. And into my studio here one weekend day, and was like, why are you hanging out, or why are you hiding out in here? And I was like, I'm not hiding out. I'm spending the little precious time I have doing what I love most. And yeah, my time is precious. Life is short. And I've discovered that my favorite things to do, like what really enriches me, often doesn't include other people. Sometimes it does. I've done a couple of litter pickups in the past couple months that were with other people, and I found those super satisfying and really enriching. I don't want to do them every single weekend, mind you, but I would do one a month. Like, I love cleaning up my neighborhoods that I live and work in. It felt really, really good. And being around other people for that kind of activity was fun. But I don't want to have to explain myself when the studio calls me, when my sketchbook calls me, when when a good book calls me. So I guess now I'm like learning all these things that are super important to me. So when I feel ready to invite people into my life again, they're going to have to be on the same wavelength. Like they're going to have to like a lot of alone time and have their own hobbies and interests that they like to do without me also. So yeah, not sure what the moral of the story is, but I'll allow you to make your own. How's that? I have my last, there's a gnat. Oh man, that's so aggravating. Anyway, I have my last shamanic class today. It's the last class of the first year. I've just decided not to do the second year, at least not right now, because it just sounds like too much. I don't feel like I have the energy for it. Like, it's a no in my body. Whereas the first year was an absolutely yes, yes, yes. In fact, it was like divinely inspired. Yeah, and I'm so glad I did it. But I think the next chapter of my shamanic journey will be a little later and maybe with a different teacher, maybe even in a different part of the world. We'll see. I'm going to allow it to come to me like the first year did. And with that, I'm going to let you go and drink my coffee and do my morning journaling and get ready for class. I hope you have a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening, and may you be happy, may you be healthy, may you be wealthy, and may you feel at ease. Until